What is going on, YouTube? Pass the prop back here again. MLB, last show of August for us. We're ready to roll. Joined as always by my guy, Stu. What's good, man?
A lot's good, baby. It's the best time of year, man. Like you said, last day of August, we've got a great MLB slate today. We've got college football back. Yesterday, for me personally, not only released my first college football play, released my first NFL play as well. I'm excited, man. It's all year long. People say, "Oh, monotone football, man. You bet basketball, you bet baseball. Why is that still your name? You should change it, buddy." And I tell them, this is what I live for. This is my time of year. I love baseball. I love basketball, but this is what it's all about. And nothing better than getting some bets down in those sports. So I'm fired up. But honestly, I'm fired up because we got a good baseball slate today. I just did another show with our guy Alpha Dog Bets a little bit ago. So I just talked like 30 minutes of baseball then. So I'm fired up and ready to go. We got some good stuff today.
Yeah, what is it? What is this? Year 3 or 4 for us heading into football? I don't even remember, dude. It's been so many. It just seems like it just all rolls together.
Right?
It might be 4 now.
Oh my God, that's crazy. That's crazy to think about. But hey, hopefully our best year yet, right?
Yeah, obviously, it's been we've had pretty good seasons. I mean, last year obviously we had a good year too. I have to look back at what our numbers were last year, but we're always happy to see the new faces that come in during football season. And hopefully, as the show's grown over the years, seen a lot more of you guys that come for football. See, we can still do other sports. We can still do college, like college basketball. We still do MLB, right? So I know a lot of you guys come just for the football, but obviously we're still here cashing other ones. I know we want to do a best ball draft on here one of the days. I just finished up my best one. I sent Stu my lineup immediately when I was done with it. So hopefully if we do one on a live show here, we can have as good a results as my last one because, man, dude, I'm feeling – when you just have it like everything clicks and there's only like – usually throughout a best ball draft I'll have like 4 or 5 picks where I'm like, fuck, yep. I just missed. This one I had 1, and that's it. And that's like if I have none, then, dude, just I wish I put that in like a 10,000 one because I feel like that. That's the type of way. But, man, dude, I just felt like I missed on one spot. And I usually feel like I miss on like 4 or 5. So I'm feeling pretty good about the one I made last night.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was telling you the other day, like best ball last year, I felt like I looked at all my lineups and I was like, oh, these are some pretty good teams. This year I look at my lineups, I'm like, what is going on? Like there's a lot more, to me, it feels like variance, a lot more mystery, a lot of young quarterbacks, but not necessarily the highest touted young quarterbacks in the world outside of like the Williams. We got Bo Nix starting, right? We got a Drake May coming in pretty soon. So it's an interesting season. I know we got a lot to talk about. I was actually talking to our guy, Prop Bomb, the other day. He said he wanted to hop on the show. That would be fun. I was telling him, you got to stop me from talking for 2 hours. Like, if we get on the football show, it could be 3 hours. It could legitimately go that long. So we'll do our best to rein it in a little bit. But we got a lot to say. And, too, drop in the comments. Do you want to see a best ball draft? Do you want to see futures? Do you want to see them both in the same show? Let us know what you're interested in, because we got all of it. We're ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're here for, right? We're here to cash bets with you guys, to entertain you guys as well. And obviously we're lucky enough to be as versatile as we are. And if you guys do have things that you want to see, hey, if we see enough interest, obviously we'll be ready to go and ready to cash with you guys. But without further ado, let's get to this MLB slate. We got 2-1 slate last show. I'm pissed because over on Action, they didn't let me put my race to 3. They don't have it as an option. So I put first 5 money line, of course, and they get fucking beat. So they lose the first 5, but my race to 3. That's why we do it, man. That's why we do it. Because it was that 4th, 5th inning when Corbin Burns is seeing those guys like we fucking talked about. We talked about it on here. What was going to happen? We end up cashing those bets. Very lucky. I don't know if you watched the game, but Cedric Mullins scored one of those runs on a drop third strike that Will Smith just didn't throw to first. And then the next guy hits a double and scores 2 runs. So it's like very lucky. I didn't have to tell you guys that it was lucky, but if you watch the game, I understand that you're like, oh man, this is a little sweaty. But Orioles race to 3 cashes. My Red Sox did not cash after having bases loaded with 1 out in the first inning and just absolutely lighting up Bassett. Just did nothing for the rest of the game.
I was going to say Bassett turned into Cy Young after having like one of the worst first innings he's had all year. I don't know what. Yeah, it's funny. Like when you look at it, theoretically, you would think the results would have been reversed between these two, right? But I mean, back to that Orioles one. For me personally, I didn't watch the game. I think that was the one where Otani's dog threw the first pitch. I had to.
Oh yeah, he had a bomb on the first one.
I woke up, dude. I looked at it. I was like, this went literally exactly how you said it would. Like, he won the first three, and that's the only thing it won. So for me, I don't know about you. I always feel a little. I know you put the thing in action or whatever, blah blah blah. But when you get that one specific call that you kind of looked out for, I feel like it always feels that much better.
Yeah, no, I did feel good about it. It was just like, damn, all right. Burns is heading through the third time through the order and just gets absolutely smacked around too. So, yeah, it's unfortunate it didn't cash on my like my tracking, but it's all right. I'll be all right. Obviously, Contreras hits a little ding ding there. My Brewers are rolling right now, man. They are rolling. I think it's 7 of their last 8. I think it was 6 in a row after this game. I had a bet on them last night. They did awesome. Won 6-0. Aaron Savali decides he's good. And obviously, Wilson Contreras is just on a little heater right now.
Yeah, man. Oh, this is a good one right here. Obviously, getting that home run underdog notification is probably the best way to win hits, runs, RBIs. You don't want to be digging in that game log. Just give me that notification, baby. Was fired up right here. Only had him in a little parlay. Didn't play the home run straight, but did, have that as part of it. But the hits, runs, RBIs, the straight did cash for us right here. Was very happy with that one. Like you said, Mr. Consistency, baby, just keeps getting the job done for us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And no long shots on our last show, but we do add another half unit to the show, and we continue to keep it rolling here. Obviously, I want to keep playing baseball, even with football coming around. I want to get us to that 100 bet mark and kind of see where we're at in terms of units and how we do there. But we're back today. We have I'm not going to lie, this is a great slate. Like, this is all around a great slate. We got some high-end arms. We don't really have that many cans, though, right? We have, like, middle-of-the-road guys. Like, there's some really good arms, high strikeout arms, high variance arms, but there's not, like, shit, right? In the shit that does come out, like the Angels pitcher today, I've never heard of. He's playing the worst team in baseball in terms of offense because the Mariners are fucking awful. Worst offense in baseball. I don't care what anybody else has to say. Sign me up for any other team but the Mariners because I hate watching that team play offense. So just what I'm saying, it's a pretty good slate here. Let's I'm sorry, I just looked in the chat and we got Flam Fam in here. Yeah, was getting worried about me, but I don't know what you mean by best ball. Stu, do you want to take this one? Or you want me to?
I mean,
you want to explain best ball?
I mean, I'm not probably the best person to do it. It's just like season-long fantasy, right? So what you're doing is it takes the fun part of drafting the team, and then you kind of kick out the week-to-week scoring. It picks for you the highest scores, so you have a much bigger roster. You're going through. DraftKings has it, and then the other big place that has it is Underdog, and it's kind of popping off over these last couple of years. It's a nice little season-long alternative to fantasy where you don't have to keep up with your picks every week. Instead, you're shooting for upside, right? The highest scores on a week-by-week basis. Was that okay? You got better than that? I'm not a best ball guru or anything like that. We just have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, I do a lot of best ball, but I mean, that's pretty much the essential of it. Just draft, and it just takes your optimal lineup, right? And for us, I don't know if I was just that guy when I first started playing fantasy. I would watch and I would be like, damn, my team's doing great. And then I look at my bench and they outscore like half of them. And it's like, shit, I suck at fantasy football. Well, don't matter. Now those good guys move into my starting lineup. And obviously you get to not have to worry about it so much. I wouldn't say it's DFS you get to pick every week, right? DFS you pick every slate. You don't get to re-pick players. You just pick one day on your draft. And then the best players from that week take your spot. Right, they take the starting lineup. So I do it for baseball a lot. I love best ball baseball, even though it takes forever to get your money back because it takes forever. I mean, yeah. So let's talk some games here, Stu. There's a lot to choose from. Is there a game that is kind of sticking out to you in this spot?
I mean, I'll probably be at the Nationals-Cubs game tonight, so I think that one obviously sticks out to me just because I'm going to be there in person for it. But honestly, we got some bangers, low-key. I mean, with that Phillies-Atlanta game kind of early on the slate, and then a little bit later on the slate as well. For me, I'll be home in time to watch it, so I think it's going to be that Dodgers game that I'll probably be tuned into as my big screen game. But like I said, I'll be at that Cubs Nats one.
Yeah, no, and I like that Dodgers game for sure. I think that's obviously the number one spot. I have these games that I just don't understand the lines, and my first one has got to be this Twins of Toronto game. Like, I get Gausman's been really good at home and kind of sucked on the road so far, and that's kind of been his MO for the last few years. But you're telling me that I can get Kevin Gausman at plus 150 against Pablo Lopez, who's kind of been all over the map lately? Like, I know the Blue Jays offense ain't great. They've been kind of stymied by a lot of teams, but my God, dude, I really like that game. I like Gausman tonight. I always like Gausman, though. I am a stan of Kevin Gausman. Even when he sucks every start of the season, everybody tells me I'm an idiot for betting him, even though he's still by the end of the year, this man makes all of his money back and more. But I think that's the game that I'm most looking forward to. I think that might be the best overall pitching matchup on the slate. But yeah, I think that was my spot. That was my game.
Yeah, I like that game too. I mean, I didn't look super close at that one, to be honest. Gausman, honestly, I hate the Blue Jays. I really do. I mentioned it when you bet Bassett. Like, you're on these guys all the time. I hate him. Kikuchi as well. Used to have him now on the Astros, obviously. Like, the Blue Jays are my least favorite team around. So I don't bet too many of those games. But hey, if you got to bet on them, I'll definitely bet them.
Yeah, for sure. And Flan, I'm telling you right now, it's actually the least amount of work you could possibly have for any sort of betting thing that you could want, because you don't have to do anything after the first day. So I'm just reading off more work. I mean, you probably have the least. I'll show you a best of all lineup that I drafted last night that I sent Stu, just so you can kind of see what we're talking about there. But looks like we got 4 picks today, Stu. We haven't had a 4-pick show in a while. That's just telling you how good this slate is here. I will kick it over to you to start us off with a guy that, with the numbers he's having this year, you'd think he'd be in the AL MVP race, but my God, not even close. This dude's not even in the top 3 with how good Bobby Witt and Aaron Judge have been this year. So I'll let you kick it away.
Yeah, we're going Jose Ramirez over 1.5 total bases, minus 120. I know what you're thinking, like hits, runs, RBIs is normally kind of the go-to over here. You probably haven't seen too many total bases. I believe I played Santander like 2 months ago and we cashed that. That was the last total bases. So I rarely do bring it out, but I did like the look right here, especially going back through with that 2.5 hits, runs, RBI. I did think about it at plus money. I don't think it's a bad look. But, man, I like this matchup. I like a lot of offense in this game, I think, for both sides. We got kind of 2 mid-tier to below-average pitchers going against Falter right here. Is really over-relying on that four-seam fastball, throwing it 50% of the time. Jose Ramirez slugging over 500 against that pitch. Isolated power of over 300 against that pitch. And that's what we're looking for. We're not necessarily looking for the batting average with these total bases. We're looking for guys that crush it. And when you look at his numbers against left-handed pitching so far, not only is the guy hitting 355, he's slugging 693 on the season. I'm not talking about like a 10-game sample size, guys. I'm talking about the full season. And the crazy thing is, it's not anything new. Last year, he was also crushing lefties. Not quite to this extent, but still over 600 slugging. He is truly one of the best in those kind of matchups in the league. And I really love the matchup here. And like I said, I was looking across at the pricing. It's kind of tough to decide how to back him. But I do think this is going to be a good offensive game from both sides. Like I said, two kind of pitchers I'm not a big fan of. When the pitch splits match, when he's on, kind of the heater he is, and then you get that lefty matchup thrown in there, it was just too much to resist. I love Ramirez in this game, and it was kind of simple as that. He's at that point for me where I see him against a lefty, I'm trying to play it as soon as possible, and then it doesn't hurt that he's got some good form. Obviously, he's playing well right now, but love this play. The pitch splits back it up. It's pretty simple. I normally, run on long for 45 minutes, but I just really like this look right here for Jose Ramirez.
No, for sure. I mean, the tough part is like you almost want to bet him every game, right? He's just been that good. He's just been all reliable for how many years and just continues to get the job done. So for me, that's the tough part, is just like, when do I get to not bet this guy? You know what I mean? He's just been that good for that long against everybody. So do not mind that look at all. I am heading. I'll start us off with what'd you say?
I was just I see Flam Fam said minus 115 on FanDuel as well. If you go to the 2+ instead of the over under, good call on that. Definitely want to save yourself that extra 5 cents right there.
For sure. Let's take a look. I'll go to my first one here. I'm going to start with plus money. I'm going to go to Framber over 18.5 outs. It's always fluctuating, right? Minus 250 on the 17.5 to, getting the plus money on 18.5. And I understand it. I mean, I don't like looking at like, oh, he's hit this in 5 of 6 when it comes to outs, right? You have to look at the individual matchups. It's not like, oh, he's crushed this number throughout the year. This dude just doesn't throw that many pitches in these at-bats because he's just throwing so many sinkers and getting so many ground ball outs. It's just phenomenal, right? And he had one blow-up start that really kind of killed his numbers here. But, man, against lefties, he's completely nullified them. A 2.76 xFIP with a 22% K-minus BB. That is phenomenal stuff. And then you look at the ground ball rate, 53% to righties, 62% to lefties. Just really hard to not like this guy in this spot. My thing is this Royals seems dangerous, right? It's a dangerous team. You just lost Pasquantino, though, so that's obviously brutal. Absolutely brutal. Sorry for the Royals fans. You guys are fucked. There's no chance anymore. I really wanted them to have a chance, but you lose your 3-hole hitter this late in the season. There's really no way to just fix it, right? There's no trade deadline to fix it, right? You're kind of SOL here. But first off, let's talk about it a little bit. Home, Royals are great, right? They have like a 110 WRC plus as a team. On the road this year, they're at like 96 WRC plus, so obviously a little bit worse. Against lefties, they're under league average, 98 WRC plus against lefties. You'd think that would be a little bit different with the righty power that they have in this lineup, but really hasn't been. And now you get the best matchup of all of them, right? You get them on the road against the lefty, against a guy like Framber Valdez, who's obviously been very good at home for an extended period of time. At home so far this year, he's given up 7 home runs in 102 innings. 102 innings, he's given up 7 bombs, right? That is phenomenal. You look at the slugging percentage against, it's 346. This is just a tough guy to really, like, continue to put runs on, right? He doesn't give up the power. And when you have a guy who just continues to feed ground balls, it's very hard for you to piece together 3 hits in a row to get you there, right? You're not getting those extra base hits, only having to get 2 hits. You got to get 3 or 4 to be getting to Framber Valdez. And even if you get 3 to 4, this dude gets you in 2 or 3 pitches to get you out. So love the double play upside. He always has it. And I think this is a great matchup. I know on paper it's not. When you look at the Royals, they've been good. But this is a tough spot, man. This is a tough spot facing Framber. His first non-win in his last 8 starts was last start. He still threw well. Bullpen let him down. He had a shutout going into the sixth inning there, and then the Red Sox got to him a little bit on 2 infield hits, and then their bullpen shit on him. So I really like Framber today. I think that he's probably one of my favorite arms on the slate.
This is going to be a good game, too. I almost excluded it when I was talking about kind of bangers earlier, but I think this is going to be a fun one. But like you mentioned, man, losing Vinny P is huge. He's one of the few guys, everyone talks about the Royals home road splits. He's one of the few guys that was actually hitting okay on the road as well, not just at home. So huge loss to that team. A lot of now inconsistent contact hitters in the lineup. You don't have that pop anymore. And, man, talk about a team you don't want to face, the sinker ball king, Framber Valdez, who obviously also has that killer curveball for the K. But he's like you said, he's a quick guy. He's one of my favorite dudes in the league to target outs with. The thing that this made me think of was I saw FanDuel for the first day posted alternate outs props yesterday.
Really?
Very interesting. I didn't see it yet today. It was very close to game time when I saw it yesterday, but the alt numbers were good too. So I'm curious if like a 17.5, maybe with the plus money and 18.5 might actually be a good price, because we know how important those, every half inning or every, partial inning is to these props, and going from 18.5 to 17.5 is huge. So I'm just saying I'm tailing this, but that's going to be something I'm looking out for, because if they are doing that from now on, and if they're not correcting the pricing to make it a huge drop off between 17 and 8.5 like yesterday, then I would definitely, consider throwing another hammer on that. So just something to keep an eye out, something I'll be looking for as well.
Yeah, the 17.5 is parlayable almost anytime he's out there, right? He's been very, very good at getting to that spot. And I I mean, it's almost like a floor. That last time he gave up 3 base runners was at the 17 out mark and should have gotten out of it twice. So just really bad defense there. Yeah, like the spot. Let's head to plays 3 and 4. We got 15 of you guys in here live with us. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're coming at you guys with plays 3 and 4 here. Take it away, Stu.
Sounds good. I'm going to be fading my Nationals in person today. We're going Seiya Suzuki over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, minus 130. When I first looked at it, this is one of those things that I almost thought wouldn't be able to play today, right? Because the Cubs are coming in with a little bit of good momentum. 7 of their last 8 they've won. They're playing a little bit better right now. And Seiya Suzuki's been a big part because just like they've won 7 of their last 8, Suzuki is over this number in 7 of his last 8. When you look a little closer, over his last 4 games, he's coming in with 4 straight multi-hit games. So cashing this number with just the hits alone. He's making good contact. Over 300 on the season on the road, 304 on the road this year. But what I like the most, because I was, even with the good recent form, for me, maybe Suzuki normally profiles more as like a hit parlay guy necessarily than hits, runs, RBIs, just because I haven't had the most trust in the world for the Cubs lineup. But what I do like when I was diving into the pitch splits a little bit more is that Jake Irvin goes from throwing the 4-seam fastball as his number 1 pitch to the sinker as his number 1 pitch when it's against right-handed pitching. He heavily relies on the sinker, and then he goes to the curveball, and then the 4-seamer then goes to his least thrown pitch, while it's his most thrown pitch against lefties, who he's actually been better against. That's because the 4-seamer batters are only hitting around 220 against, while the sinker batters are hitting almost 300 against. So his sinker, which is his worst pitch out of the 3, he's now having to use as his most thrown pitch to right-handed batters. And that's great for Seiya Suzuki, who's hitting 260 against the sinker on the season. I don't have the data. I'd like to look at it about different velocity levels. But for me personally, I've noticed Suzuki seems to struggle with the super high velo power pitchers. Those seem to be the heavy 4-seamer guys, seem to be the guys that kind of crush it with that 99 up top. But the sinker balls, the 94s, the 95s, Irvin's not a power pitcher, right? He's more of a, he's not, not a finesse necessarily, but somewhere in between. He's not hitting the high 90s. He's, low to mid 90s most of the time. And Seiya, like I said, crushes that sinker at 360. But then you go the curveball, his second most thrown pitch. Well, thankfully for us, that's his second best pitch, hitting over 300 against on the season as well. Then finally, he's still doing okay against the 4-seamer at 268 as his third most thrown pitch. But like I said, don't have the data to back it. But my eye test does tell me that 4-seamer is, those power, super tough 4-seamers, which I don't think Irvin necessarily has right here. So we got a good combination of, not only does he have the good recent form, he's playing well, 4 multi-hit straight, or 4 multi-hit games coming in right here. The team is playing a little bit better. We have some more runs, RBI potential, but then he has great pitch splits. I mean, pretty much ideal pitch splits against Irvin, and that's kind of really what pushed me over the edge to bet him on the hits, runs, RBIs. The final thing I'll say is I like Irvin. I'm a big fan of him. I think he's a borderline all-star at the all-star break. Unfortunately, I think it's the tale of all these young pitchers, is in the sense that Washington, as I believe, used the 4th fewest starting pitchers out of any team in the league, while simultaneously having one of the youngest starting rotations in the league. All these guys are being pushed to lengths that they're not used to, that they're not comfortable with. This is the time of year where we've seen things start unraveling a little bit. And Irvin just hasn't looked quite as sharp just overall since the All-Star break, since the second half of the season. He's in uncharted waters a little bit more than normal. So it's kind of a good Cubs team with some good momentum coming in. They're fighting versus a Nationals team they're fighting, they're scrappy. That Yankees series was a lot of fun. Nasim Nunez got his first RBI. Dylan Cruz playing some great baseball, hitting the first career homer against Garrett Cole. Like, they're a fun, scrappy team, but I do think that the Cubs are going to have some success this series. I think Suzuki is going to be a big part of it. So back to him at over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, minus 130.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Obviously, don't like fading your team too often, right? You don't want to fade them too much, but yeah, it's a good spot. It's definitely a good spot. And let's kick it off to that big game we talked about. I'll be heading to the Dodgers. Dodgers first 5 over 4.5 at minus 120. I understand the name value on this is pretty big, right? You got Clayton Kershaw versus Zach Gallen. But I like doing this with pitchers coming off of probably their best start of the year. I maybe they have a heater coming, but we haven't seen it from Gallen at all this year. And that was his first real one where it's like, oh, that looked pretty good. But also, Boston's been fucking awful this last 2 weeks overall against everybody. Against every pitcher they faced, they have looked awful. So now that you see that, I'm not as impressed, especially when you saw him, Gallen, I'm talking about, give up 5 runs to Cleveland, right? You see him give 4 runs up to Tampa Bay in 5 innings. And I guess the Dodgers, their last time out in LA, 4 innings, gave up 3 runs. It only lasted 85 pitches in that one. My biggest thing is these are the ideal spots, right? A left-handed pitcher against the Diamondbacks at home, right? We look at those splits. Arizona has a 116 WRC plus against lefties at home so far this year, top 10. You go to the Dodgers. I mean, their numbers against everybody have been pretty damn good. But if you want to go to right-handed pitchers on the road, Dodgers, obviously, towards the top at that list, as they are at almost every one of these lists with a 106 WRC plus. My thing is this Dodgers lineup, I understand, is not great, right? It's not great right now. But now that you got Mookie Betts back, and I think Friedman's playing tonight. I'd assume Friedman's playing tonight. He played 2 nights ago. They sat him out yesterday against the lefty. This lineup just gets so much deeper now that you have Max Muncy and Mookie Betts in it, right? Now it goes 6 or 7 deep, right? With Will Smith still getting in that 4 spot. You got Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freeman, Will Smith, Teoscar, Max Muncy. Now that 3-headed monster turns to 6, and it gets way deeper. Gavin Lux has been playing great baseball as of late. Then you go even lower. Kike Hernandez has been hitting the baseball well. Miguel Rojas has been these dudes that don't usually hit the ball well are now hitting the ball well because they had so many opportunities with those guys hurt. Now they're all just rolling here, and I really like this Dodgers offense against Gallen. I know he's at home, and he's always been better at home, but I'm fine with it. Rolling with talent here in the Dodgers. Then going to the other side, Kershaw. I mean, I'm good with fading Mr. Kershaw. You look at his numbers against righties so far this year, 424 slugging. We've seen him already give up quite a few extra base hits. We have 7 extra base hits already through 20 innings. Just not instilling me a ton of confidence here. I know this D-backs team is kind of, hurt a little bit, but they got some lefty snipers, man. Suarez, you see Randall Grichuk plays one time a week when he faces lefties and hits a bomb. I swear every game he faces a lefty. Hit one yesterday. Go down the list. I wish Ketel Marte was back. I wish Gabby Moreno was back, but they just brought up that Castillo catcher, and this dude's hitting tanks, right? So it's just just go up and down this list. Jake McCarthy against lefties has actually been very, very good. That dude's been a stud. I think this is a good spot for both sides. Instead of trying to go full game, because the Dodgers, if they're up, say they're up 6-2 or 5-3, that Dodgers bullpen has just absolutely been lights out. Don't want to touch the full game. Sign me up. I think both these guys have the ability to give up 3 or 4 runs on their own. And I think that 4.5 is a very fair price.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the only killer thing would just be Marte back in that lineup. I mean, it's interesting because we like the Diamondbacks so much because they're such a deep lineup. But when you take the heart of the lineup out, and then it's just the depth, then it looks a lot less impressive when you're depending on Josh Bell and Jake the Snake to take care of Clayton Kershaw. And I get he's not, the same Clayton Kershaw you think of when you hear that name at this point. But that's the only scary thing to me is the depth pieces are now kind of thrust into that number 1 role. But like you said, that might have to bet on that catcher kid tonight. That guy's been good. He's been really good for just coming up. So they've got a lot of scrappy guys. They play, good, small ball, even when they're not having their elite home run hitters in the lineup there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's just a fair number. 4.5 is a fair number. And yeah, I don't want to trust these bullpens. Because we've seen the Dodgers has been absolutely lights out since they got Ryan Brazier from the Red Sox, and they got Kopech, who's now turned into an absolute just menace now in the back of that bullpen to go along with Evan Phillips and Blake Treinen. So let's do a quick recap here, Stu. Let's get it going here, and then if you have a long shot, I don't have anything yet, but I'll kick it over to you to start us off.
Sounds good. Jose Ramirez over 1.5 total bases at -120. And then we got Seiya Suzuki over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, -130. Oh, and both of those, sorry, FanDuel, you can get -115 for the first one. This one, -125 on ESPN. So shout out to Flan Fam for finding those best lines. Looks like I got sniped a little bit by some of these other bucks.
Beautiful. I'll be on DraftKings for this one. Framber over 18.5 outs at +110. And also going with the Dodgers. First 5 over 4.5 at -120. Stu, you got anything else for the people here today? We had a little longer show, went about half an hour, but this slate was well deserved. It deserved us to go a little bit longer and keep you guys here a little bit longer to cash these with us, hopefully.
Yeah, no, I don't have like any cool long shots. The only thing I bet was Jose Ramirez homer 360. Obviously, that's my guy. But I talked about him earlier. That's not fun. That's just the same guy we already talked about. So I'll do the thing where I post a little round robin a little bit later on Twitter because it's Friday. I'm going to be at the game. I want a little bit of long shot action. So I'll keep you guys updated with that. I'll make a post over on Twitter a little bit later. Only other thing I got is, make sure you're following over on Twitter. You're looking out. Released my first college football play of the season, and it was a winner, baby. We cashed our first prop, Omarion Hampton with the check down. So you're going to notice that from me a lot this year. I love receivers, catches. It's weird in college. They're always very low lines. They're not used the same ways as the CMCs in the NFL. It's very game script dependent, but it's something I found a lot of success on. So if you can bet those college props, whether it's offshore, legal, prize picks, whatever, make sure you're following me if you want to keep up with those. We're going to have a lot more college football stuff this year. And then I did release my first NFL prop of the season over in the 4for4 Discord. So if you want all of my NFL props this season, the second I release them, you can follow over at 4for4 and just check out the pinned tweet on my page. It was a really bad line. We took advantage of it. Moved a little bit. It's still a pretty bad line. So got a lot of good NFL stuff coming. I'll probably cook up a couple more props pretty soon. And hey, if you want even more of that, you'll have to tune in to Pass the Prop. We'll be talking NFL props next week, baby. We're a week away. We're almost there. So a lot of good stuff coming. Make sure you're following over on Twitter and following over here for Pass the Prop.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We always have plays, right? We always got stuff ready for you guys. Always got stuff cooked up. Great slate tonight. Obviously, next week, we'll still figure out how we're going to do it. I would assume we still do our MLB one on Monday. Maybe we just add another show to do a best ball thing. Maybe we, just kind of add something around there.
Futures on Monday, and then we do best ball after that. I think one of those, that should be the move, probably.
Yeah, we just got to figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll get it back for you guys and get you guys ready to go. But obviously, follow on Twitter. We try to keep you guys updated on what we're doing when we figure it out, because we kind of do it last minute ourselves, and that's what makes it fun. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We have 4 plays for you guys. First time we had a 4-play slate in a while. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll be back, I believe, Monday, ready to go. If not, with it being the Labor Day spot, we'll be ready Tuesday. So just keep your notifications on Twitter, and we'll be ready to go. So thank you guys. Have a good one, and we will see you back here early next week. Have a good one.